She walked through those hallways like a ghost. Invisible. Unwanted. A black girl in a school that had already decided she didn't belong. Her teacher smiled at everyone else, but when those eyes landed on Ava, they turned cold, dismissive, cruel. Day after day, the humiliation grew, the mockery, the erasure of her worth. And when they finally pushed her into the water in front of everyone, the teacher just stood there and watched. What they didn't know? What nobody saw coming? Ava Bennett wasn't just some girl they could break. She was a Navy SEAL's daughter, and she was about to make them all answer for what they'd done. Subscribe right now and tell me where you're watching from, because this story will leave you speechless. Ava Bennett walked through the hallway with her head down. The noise of lockers slamming echoed around her. Students laughed and talked in groups. No one looked her way. She stopped at her locker and opened it slowly. Her hands trembled as she reached for her math book. "Morning, Ava." She turned. Carly Stevens stood there with two friends. Their smiles didn't reach their eyes. "Morning," Ava said quietly. "Nice hair today," Carly said. Her voice was sharp. The other girls giggled. Ava felt her face grow hot. "Thanks," she whispered. Carly leaned closer. "I was being sarcastic." They walked away, laughing. Ava's chest tightened. She grabbed her book and shut her locker hard. The bell rang. Students rushed past her. She felt invisible again. Ava walked into Ms. Wilkins' classroom and sat in the back row. The teacher stood at her desk, organizing papers. Her expression changed when she saw Ava. "Late again?" Ms. Wilkins asked. "I'm not late," Ava said. "The bell just rang." "Don't argue with me." Ava looked down at her desk. Her throat felt tight. Other students filed in. Ms. Wilkins smiled at them warmly. She called several by name. She never said Ava's name that way. "Open your books to page 47, Ms. Wilkins said. Ava opened her book. Her hands were still shaking. Ms. Wilkins walked between the rows. She stopped at Ava's desk. "Did you do the homework?" "Yes, ma'am." "Let me see it." Ava pulled out her notebook and handed it over. Ms. Wilkins flipped through the pages. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "This is barely acceptable," she said. She dropped the notebook on the desk. Ava felt tears burn behind her eyes. She had worked 2 hours on that assignment. "Some students just don't have the drive to succeed," Ms. Wilkins said loudly. The class went silent. Everyone stared at Ava. Ava's breath caught. She wanted to disappear. She wanted to run from the room, but she sat frozen in her seat. Ms. Wilkins walked back to the front. "Let's begin." Ava stared at her notebook. The words blurred together. Something shifted in her chest. It felt heavy and sharp at the same time. She wondered how much longer she could stay quiet. Ava copied notes from the board. Her handwriting was shaky. Ms. Wilkins' voice droned on about equations and formulas. Ava tried to focus. "Who can solve this problem?" Ms. Wilkins asked. Several hands shot up. Ava kept hers down. She knew the answer but didn't want attention. "Ava," Ms. Wilkins said. Ava looked up. Her stomach dropped. "Come to the board." Ava stood slowly. Every eye followed her. She walked to the front with her heart pounding. The chalk felt cold in her hand. She wrote the equation carefully. She worked through each step. When she finished, she turned around. Ms. Wilkins studied the board. "That's wrong." "But It's wrong," Ms. Wilkins said. Her voice was firm. Ava looked at the board again. She had done it correctly. She was sure of it. "Can you show me where?" Ava asked quietly. "Don't question me," Ms. Wilkins said. "Go sit down." Ava walked back to her seat. Her face burned. Whispers followed her. A boy named Jake leaned toward his friend. "She can't even do basic math." The friend laughed. "What do you expect?" Ava's hands formed fists under her desk. She felt anger rise in her throat. But she swallowed it down. The class continued. Ms. Wilkins called on other students. They made mistakes too, but she corrected them gently. She smiled at them. She never raised her voice. Ava felt something break inside her. She realized the truth. This wasn't about math. This was about who she was. This was about her skin. This was about Ms. Wilkins deciding she didn't belong. The bell rang. Students packed their bags and hurried out. Ava moved slowly. "Ava," Ms. Wilkins called. Ava stopped. Her chest tightened. "You need to try harder," Ms. Wilkins said. "People like you have to work twice as hard to keep up." Ava's eyes found Ms. Wilkins. "What do you mean by people like me?" Ms. Wilkins smiled coldly. "Students who struggle with the material." The silence stretched between them. Ava knew what she really meant. She turned and walked out without another word. The cafeteria was loud and crowded. Ava carried her tray to an empty table in the corner. She sat alone. She always sat alone. Across the room, Carly laughed with her friends. They looked perfect together. Their hair shone under the fluorescent lights. Their clothes were expensive and new. Ava looked down at her sandwich. She wasn't hungry anymore. "Hey, Ava!" She looked up. Carly was walking toward her. 3 girls followed. Ava's stomach twisted. Nothing good ever came from Carly's attention. "Can I help you?" Ava asked. "We were just wondering something," Carly said. She pulled out a chair and sat down. "Do you wash your hair?" The other girls giggled. Ava felt her face grow hot. "Of course I do." "It's just so different," Carly said. She reached out and touched Ava's curls. "So rough." Ava pulled back. "Don't touch me." "Wow, sensitive much?" Carly said. Her voice was sweet but cruel. One of the other girls leaned in. "Maybe if you straightened it, you'd look more normal, more presentable," another added. Ava's throat tightened. She wanted to scream. She wanted to throw her tray in their faces. But she just sat there. "Leave me alone," she whispered. "What was that?" Carly asked. "Speak up." "I said leave me alone." Carly stood. "You're so dramatic. We're just being friendly." They walked away laughing. Their voices carried across the cafeteria. Other students looked at Ava and whispered. Ava's breath caught. She picked up her tray and walked to the trash. She threw everything away. She wasn't going to eat here anymore. She left the cafeteria and found an empty bathroom. She locked herself in a stall. She pressed her hands against her face. She wouldn't cry. She wouldn't give them that power. But tears came anyway. They ran hot down her cheeks. Her whole body shook. The bathroom door opened. Footsteps echoed on the tile. Ava held her breath. She waited until they left. Then she wiped her face and walked out. Ava walked home slowly. The afternoon sun was warm on her shoulders. She dragged her backpack behind her. It felt heavier than usual. Her house came into view. It was small but well kept. Her father's truck sat in the driveway. She opened the front door. The smell of coffee filled the air. "Ava?" Marcus called from the kitchen. "Yeah, Dad." "How was school?" She dropped her backpack by the stairs. "Fine." Marcus appeared in the doorway. He was tall and strong. His navy uniform was perfectly pressed. He studied her face with concern. "You don't look fine," he said. "I'm just tired." "Come sit with me." She followed him to the kitchen. He poured her a glass of water and sat across from her. His eyes were gentle but searching. "Talk to me," he said. "There's nothing to talk about." "Ava." She looked at her hands. "School is school. It's the same as always." "Are the kids treating you okay?" "Dad, please." "I'm just asking." "I can handle it," she said. Her voice was sharper than she meant it to be. Marcus leaned back. I know you're strong, but you don't have to handle everything alone. You don't understand, she whispered. Then help me understand. The silence hung between them. Ava wanted to tell him everything. She wanted to describe Ms. Wilkins' cruelty and Carly's mockery. She wanted to explain how invisible she felt. But she couldn't find the words. He was a Navy SEAL. He faced real danger every day. Her problems felt small compared to his. It's just normal high school stuff, she said finally. Marcus reached across the table. He took her hand. If it ever becomes more than that, you tell me. Promise? I promise. She pulled her hand away and stood. I have homework. She grabbed her backpack and went upstairs. She closed her bedroom door and sat on her bed. Her father's voice drifted up from below. He was on the phone with someone. He sounded relaxed and happy. Ava felt the weight of her isolation settle over her. She wondered if anyone would ever truly understand. The school bus rumbled along the coastal road. Students talked and laughed around Ava. She sat alone near the back. The ocean stretched out beyond the window, blue and endless. Today was the marine biology field trip. Ms. Wilkins sat at the front with her clipboard. She was explaining tide pools and ecosystems. Her voice was cheerful when she spoke to most students. The bus stopped at the beach. Everyone filed out. The salt air was sharp and clean. Waves crashed against the rocks. Stay together, Ms. Wilkins called, and don't wander off. The class spread out along the shore. Ava walked behind everyone else. She knelt by a tide pool and watched small crabs scuttle across the rocks. Ava, Ms. Wilkins called. Ava stood and turned around. Ms. Wilkins was talking to a group of students. She gestured toward Ava. This is a perfect example of someone who doesn't pay attention. The students looked at Ava. Some smiled. Others looked uncomfortable. Her father is in the military, you know, Ms. Wilkins said. You'd think she'd have more discipline. He's a Navy SEAL, Jake said. Ms. Wilkins laughed. Well, clearly the apple fell far from the tree. Ava felt her chest tighten. Her father was her hero. He had earned every medal and honor. Ms. Wilkins had no right to mock him. Don't talk about my father, Ava said. Her voice was louder than she expected. The whole class turned to look. Ms. Wilkins's expression hardened. Excuse me? I said don't talk about my father. You don't give me orders, Ms. Wilkins said. She walked closer. You should be grateful I tolerate your attitude. Carly appeared beside Ms. Wilkins. She's always so disrespectful. I can see that, Ms. Wilkins said. Ava's hands shook. She wanted to run. She wanted to scream, but she stood frozen. Maybe you need to cool off, Carly said. Before Ava could react, Carly shoved her hard. Ava stumbled backward. Her foot slipped on the wet rocks. She fell into the tide pool with a splash. The cold water shocked her. She gasped and scrambled to her feet. Her clothes were soaked. Salt water dripped from her hair. The class erupted in laughter. Phones came out. Students started recording. Ms. Wilkins didn't help her. She just stood there watching. Something shifted in her expression. It looked satisfied. Ava's breath caught. Tears mixed with the salt water on her face. She climbed out of the tide pool and ran. Ava sat in the bus bathroom. Her wet clothes clung to her skin. She was shivering. The laughter from outside still echoed in her ears. She looked at herself in the small mirror. Her eyes were red and swollen. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. She looked broken. She felt broken. A knock came at the door. Ava? It was a girl's voice, not Carly, someone else. Go away, Ava said. Are you okay? I'm fine. Footsteps retreated. Ava pressed her forehead against the mirror. The glass was cold and smooth. She thought about her father. He had taught her to be strong. He had taught her to stand tall no matter what. But right now, she felt small and worthless. The bus started moving. She heard Ms. Wilkins telling everyone to sit down. No one mentioned Ava. No one asked if she was all right. She stayed in the bathroom until they reached the school. Then she slipped out and walked straight to the parking lot. She texted her father. He arrived 20 minutes later. He took one look at her, and his jaw tightened. What happened? I fell in the water. How? It was an accident. Marcus opened the truck door for her. She climbed in. He got in the driver's seat but didn't start the engine. He just looked at her. Tell me the truth, he said. Ava's throat felt tight. A girl pushed me. Which girl? It doesn't matter. It matters to me, Marcus said. His voice was hard. Please, Dad. I just want to go home. He started the engine, but she could see the anger in his eyes. They drove in silence. When they reached the house, Ava went straight to her room. She changed into dry clothes and lay on her bed. She stared at the ceiling. The humiliation washed over her again and again. Her phone buzzed. She looked at it. Someone had posted the video online. The caption read, "When you can't even handle a field trip." The video had 50 views already. Then 100. Then 200. Ava turned off her phone and buried her face in her pillow. She wondered if this was her worth. She wondered if everyone saw her the way Miss Wilkins and Carly did. She wondered if she would ever be enough. Ava didn't go to school the next day, or the day after that. Marcus tried to get her to talk. She said she was sick. He didn't believe her, but he didn't push. On the third day, the school counselor called. Dr. Simon Harper wanted to see her. Marcus drove her to school himself. I'll wait, he said. You don't have to. I'll wait. Ava walked into the counseling office. Dr. Harper stood up from his desk. He was younger than most teachers. His eyes were kind. Ava, he said, thanks for coming. She sat down in the chair across from him. She didn't say anything. I heard about what happened at the beach, Dr. Harper said. It was nothing. It didn't look like nothing. She looked at him sharply. You saw the video? Several students showed me, he said. His voice was gentle. I also spoke with some classmates. They told me things I should have noticed sooner. Like what? Like Ms. Wilkins treating you differently, like Carly and her friends bullying you. He leaned forward. Why didn't you come to me? Ava's chest tightened. Because no one cares. Because nothing would change. Because I'm just supposed to deal with it. That's not true. Isn't it? She felt tears threaten. Everyone saw what happened. No one helped me. Ms. Wilkins just stood there. Dr. Harper's expression darkened. I know. And that's not acceptable. So what are you going to do about it? I want to help you, he said. But I need you to trust me. I need you to tell me everything. The silence stretched between them. Ava looked at her hands. She thought about all the times she had stayed quiet, all the times she had swallowed her anger and her pain. She hates me, Ava whispered. Who? Ms. Wilkins. She hates me because I'm black. The words came out broken. She says things. She treats me different. She makes me feel like I'm nothing. Dr. Harper's jaw tightened. How long has this been happening? Since the beginning of the year. He picked up a pen. I need you to tell me everything. Every incident, every comment. Ava's breath caught. For the first time, someone was listening. Someone was taking her seriously. She started talking. The words poured out. Ava told Dr. Harper everything. She described Ms. Wilkins' comments and cold stares. She talked about being marked wrong when her answers were correct. She explained the cafeteria incidents and the constant mockery. Dr. Harper took notes. His expression grew harder with each story. "This is serious," he said when she finished. "This is discrimination. It's unacceptable." "What can we do?" Ava asked. "I'm going to file a formal complaint. I'm going to talk to the principal, and I'm going to make sure this is addressed. Will it change anything?" "I hope so," he said. "But Ava, I need you to be brave. This won't be easy. Ms. Wilkins has been here a long time. Some people will defend her." Ava felt fear creep up her spine. "Maybe we shouldn't do anything." "Why not?" "Because it will make things worse. Because everyone will hate me even more." Dr. Harper leaned forward. "Or maybe it will show everyone that you won't be silenced, that you have dignity and worth." She looked into his eyes. She saw belief there. She saw respect. "Do you really think we can change things?" she asked. "I think we have to try." Ava took a deep breath. Her whole body felt tight. She thought about her father. She thought about his courage. She thought about the values he had taught her. "Okay," she said. "Let's do it." Dr. Harper smiled. "Good. We start tomorrow. Are you ready?" She wasn't, but she nodded anyway. When she walked out of the office, Marcus was still waiting. He stood up when he saw her. His eyes searched her face. "How did it go?" he asked. "Dr. Harper is going to help me," she said. "Help you with what?" She looked up at him. Her father, her hero, the man who had always protected her. "I'm going to fight back," she said. Marcus pulled her into a hug. She felt his strength wrap around her. For the first time in weeks, she felt something other than despair. She felt determined. Ava walked into Ms. Wilkins' classroom the next day. Her heart pounded. Every student turned to look at her. She kept her head up. She sat in her usual seat. Ms. Wilkins glanced at her briefly. Her expression was cold. "Open your books to page 62, Ms. Wilkins said. Ava opened her book. Her hands were steady this time. Ms. Wilkins started the lesson. She called on several students. They answered wrong sometimes. She corrected them gently. Then she looked at Ava. "Ava, solve problem number 4. Ava stood. She walked to the board. She wrote the equation carefully. She showed her work step by step. When she finished, she turned around. "That's correct," Ms. Wilkins said. Her voice was flat. Ava walked back to her seat. Something had shifted. Ms. Wilkins knew she was being watched now. Dr. Harper had already started his investigation. Jake whispered to his friend. "Why is she acting different?" "Who cares?" the friend said. But Ava heard the uncertainty in his voice. Things were changing. Small changes, but changes nonetheless. At lunch, Ava sat at her usual table. A girl named Maya approached. She was quiet and kept to herself mostly. "Can I sit here?" Maya asked. Ava looked up in surprise. "Sure." Maya sat down. She opened her lunch. "I saw what happened at the beach. It was wrong." "Thanks," Ava said quietly. "People should have stood up for you." Maya's voice was soft but firm. "I should have stood up for you." Ava felt something warm in her chest. "You're standing up now." Maya smiled. "Yeah, I guess I am." Across the cafeteria, Carly watched them. Her expression was difficult to read. She said something to her friends. They all looked at Ava. Ava met Carly's gaze. She didn't look away. Carly broke eye contact first. Dr. Harper appeared at the cafeteria entrance. He was talking to the principal. They both looked serious. They glanced toward Ms. Wilkins, who was on lunch duty. Ava's chest tightened. This was really happening. The investigation was underway. "Are you okay?" Maya asked. I'm nervous, Ava admitted. That's normal, Maya said, but you're doing the right thing. The bell rang. Students filed out. Ava gathered her things. She felt stronger than yesterday. Not completely strong, but stronger. She wondered what would happen next. Carly sat in her bedroom that night. Her phone lay beside her. The video of Ava falling into the tide pool was still getting views. People were commenting. Most of them were cruel. Carly's stomach felt tight. She scrolled through the comments. She had laughed at first, but now the laughter felt hollow. Her mother knocked on the door. Carly, dinner's ready. I'm not hungry. Are you feeling okay? I'm fine, Mom. Her mother left. Carly stared at her phone. She thought about Ava's face in that moment. The shock, the humiliation, the tears mixed with salt water. Carly had caused that. She had pushed her. She had laughed. She thought about all the things she had said over the past months. The comments about Ava's hair, the mockery about her clothes, the constant cruelty. Why had she done it? Because everyone else did? Because Ms. Wilkins made it seem acceptable? Because she wanted to fit in? None of those reasons felt good enough now. Carly's phone buzzed. Her friend Jessica had sent a message. Did you hear? Someone reported Ms. Wilkins. Carly's heart raced. Who? Don't know, but everyone's saying it was Ava. Another message came through. She's such a snitch. Can't take a joke. Carly didn't respond. She set her phone down. Her hands were shaking. She thought about Ava sitting alone at lunch every day. She thought about how Ava never fought back. How she just took everything silently. That wasn't weakness. That was strength. Carly stood up. She went to her desk and pulled out a piece of paper. She started writing. Dear Ava. She stopped. The words felt inadequate. How do you apologize for months of cruelty? How do you take back pain you've caused? She crumpled the paper and threw it away. She pulled out another sheet. She tried again. I'm sorry. That was a start, but it wasn't enough. She needed to say more. She needed to explain. But explanation felt like excuse-making. She needed to just own what she had done. She wrote slowly. Each word felt heavy. When she finished, she folded the paper. She didn't sign it. She wasn't ready for that yet. Tomorrow she would leave it in Ava's locker. Maybe Ava would read it. Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe it was too late for apologies. But Carly had to try. Ava found the letter in her locker the next morning. It was folded neatly. No name on the outside. She opened it carefully. The handwriting was familiar, but she couldn't place it. She read quickly. I'm sorry for everything. I was wrong. I hurt you. I can't take it back, but I want you to know I regret it. You didn't deserve any of it. Ava's chest tightened. She read it again. Who had written this? Carly? Maya? Someone else? She folded the letter and put it in her pocket. She didn't know what to feel. Anger? Relief? Suspicion? The bell rang. She walked to Ms. Wilkins' classroom. She sat down. Ms. Wilkins was at her desk. She didn't look up when Ava entered. The class filled up. Ms. Wilkins stood and walked to the board. Her movements were stiff. Her voice was controlled. Today we're reviewing yesterday's lesson, she said. She taught the entire period without calling on Ava once. She didn't make eye contact. She didn't make comments. She taught like Ava wasn't there. Somehow that felt worse than the cruelty. At least the cruelty acknowledged Ava's existence. This was erasure. After class, Ava approached Ms. Wilkins' desk. Her heart pounded. Ms. Wilkins looked up. Her expression was cold. Yes? She asked. Why do you hate me? Ava asked quietly. Ms. Wilkins' eyes narrowed. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. You're being dramatic, Ms. Wilkins said. I treat all my students equally. That's not true. Ms. Wilkins stood. She was taller than Ava. She used that height now. You should be careful about making accusations. I'm not accusing. I'm asking. The answer is no, Ms. Wilkins said. Her voice was hard. I don't hate you. I simply have standards. Standards you fail to meet. Ava felt tears threaten, but she held them back. My work is good. You just refuse to see it. Your work is mediocre at best. You're lying. The silence hung between them. Ms. Wilkins' face flushed with anger. Get out of my classroom! Gladly. Ava turned and walked out. Her whole body was shaking. But she had done it. She had confronted Ms. Wilkins directly. She had refused to be silent. Dr. Harper was waiting in the hallway. He had heard everything. His eyes found Ava's. You were brave, he said. I was angry. Sometimes those are the same thing. Marcus picked Ava up from school that afternoon. He had taken time off work. His face was serious. We need to talk, he said. They drove to a coffee shop. Marcus ordered 2 hot chocolates. They sat at a corner table. He looked at her carefully. Dr. Harper called me, Marcus said. He told me about the complaint. Ava's stomach dropped. Are you mad? Mad? No, I'm proud. He reached across the table. But I'm also concerned. This could get difficult. I know. Ms. Wilkins has tenure. She has support from some parents. The school might not want to deal with this. So what should I do? Ava asked. Just give up? No, Marcus said firmly. Never give up, but I want to help you. I want to be there for every meeting, every conversation. Ava pulled her hand back. I need to do this myself. Why? Because if you do it for me, nothing changes. People will just say my Navy SEAL dad scared them. They won't respect me. They'll just fear you. Marcus leaned back. His jaw tightened. I understand that. But you're 16. You shouldn't have to fight this battle alone. I'm not alone, Ava said. Dr. Harper is helping. Maya is supporting me. I'm stronger than you think. I know you're strong, Marcus said. His voice was soft. You're the strongest person I know, but strength doesn't mean refusing help. I'm not refusing help. I'm refusing to be rescued. The silence stretched between them. Ava saw the conflict in her father's eyes. He wanted to protect her. That was his instinct. That was his job. But this wasn't his fight. It was hers. Promise me something, Marcus said finally. What? If it gets too hard, if they push back too much, you'll let me step in? Ava nodded. I promise. They finished their hot chocolate in silence. On the drive home, Marcus kept glancing at her. She could feel his worry. Dad, she said quietly. Yeah? Thanks for trusting me. He reached over and squeezed her hand. Always. The next day at lunch, Carly approached Ava's table. Maya was there. They both looked up in surprise. Can I talk to you? Carly asked. Her voice was quiet. About what? Ava said. About everything. Carly's hands were shaking. In private? Maya looked at Ava. Ava nodded. Maya gathered her things and moved to another table. Carly sat down. I wrote you a letter, Carly said. I know. I read it. Did you believe it? Ava studied Carly's face. She looked genuinely upset. Her eyes were red. Her voice was raw. I don't know, Ava said honestly. I was terrible to you, Carly said. I pushed you into the water. I made fun of your hair. I said horrible things. There's no excuse for any of it. Then why did you do it? Carly's throat tightened. Because everyone else did. Because Ms. Wilkins made it seem okay. Because I was a coward. Those aren't reasons. Those are excuses. You're right. Carly looked down at her hands. The truth is, I was insecure. I thought putting you down would make me feel better. It didn't. It just made me hate myself. Ava felt something shift inside her. She had imagined this conversation many times. In her imagination, she was angry. She yelled. She made Carly feel small. But sitting here now, she just felt tired. Tired of carrying anger. Tired of being hurt. I can't forgive you right now, Ava said quietly. Maybe not ever. What you did really hurt me. I know. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry, and I want to help. Help how? With the investigation. I'll tell them what I saw, what Ms. Wilkins said, what she did. Carly's voice was firm now. I'll tell the truth. Ava's breath caught. That was more than an apology. That was action. That was courage. Why would you do that? Ava asked. Because it's the right thing to do. Because I should have done it months ago. They sat in silence. Ava thought about forgiveness, about grace, about the possibility of change. Okay, she said finally. Okay? Tell Dr. Harper everything. Help me expose what's been happening. Carly nodded. Tears ran down her cheeks. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Ava said. This is just the beginning. Ms. Wilkins was teaching when Dr. Harper entered the classroom. The principal, Mrs. Chen, was with him. Every student turned to look. Ms. Wilkins, Dr. Harper said, can we speak with you outside? Ms. Wilkins's face went pale. I'm in the middle of a lesson. This can't wait, Mrs. Chen said. Ms. Wilkins set down her chalk. Her hands were shaking. She walked to the door. The three of them stepped into the hallway. Through the window, Ava could see them talking. Ms. Wilkins' expression changed from confused to defensive to angry. Her voice rose. Dr. Harper remained calm. The classroom buzzed with whispers. Everyone was watching. Everyone was speculating. What do you think is happening? Maya whispered. They're confronting her, Ava said. About everything. Jake turned around. Is this because of you? Ava met his gaze. Yes. You reported her? I told the truth. Jake looked uncomfortable. He turned back around. Other students exchanged glances. Some looked supportive, others looked skeptical. The door opened. Ms. Wilkins walked back in. Her face was red. Her eyes were wet. She didn't look at anyone. Class dismissed, she said. Her voice was cold. Go to the library for study hall. But, someone started. Now. Students grabbed their bags and hurried out. Ava was the last to leave. She glanced back. Ms. Wilkins was sitting at her desk with her head in her hands. In the hallway, Dr. Harper pulled Ava aside. We had to suspend the investigation temporarily. Ms. Wilkins is denying everything. She says you're making it up. But Carly will testify. Maya will testify. Other students saw things. I know, and we're gathering all of that. But Ms. Wilkins has hired a lawyer. This is going to take time. Ava felt her chest tighten. How much time? Weeks, maybe months. Dr. Harper's voice was gentle. Are you prepared for that? She thought about her father, about his years of service, about his patience and discipline, about never giving up even when things got hard. Yes, she said. I'm prepared. Dr. Harper smiled. Good, because this is about to get much harder. Students were watching them. Whispers followed Ava as she walked to the library. She felt their eyes on her back. She was no longer invisible. For better or worse, everyone saw her now. The next week was brutal. Ms. Wilkins taught her classes like nothing had happened. But outside the classroom, people talked. Students took sides. Some supported Ava. Others defended Ms. Wilkins. Anonymous notes appeared in Ava's locker. Some were encouraging. Stay strong. We believe you. Thank you for speaking up. Others were cruel. Liar. Attention seeker. You're ruining her life. Ava read each one. She saved them all. Evidence. Proof that this mattered. Maya sat with her every day at lunch. Carly joined them now. Other students started sitting at their table too. A boy named David. A girl named Rachel. People who had been silent before. I should have said something earlier, David said one day. She called me lazy because of my accent. I thought it was just me. She graded my papers harder than everyone else's, Rachel added. I thought I was imagining it. You weren't, Ava said. None of us were. Across the cafeteria, Ms. Wilkins' friends watched them, other teachers, staff members who had worked with her for years. Their faces showed disapproval. One afternoon, a teacher stopped Ava in the hallway. Mr. Peterson. He taught English. You're making a big mistake, he said quietly. Excuse me? Ms. Wilkins is a good teacher. She's been here 20 years. You're going to destroy her career over nothing. Ava's chest tightened. It's not nothing. She discriminated against me, against other students. She had high standards. That's not discrimination. She treated me different because of my skin color. Mr. Peterson's expression hardened. That's a serious accusation. You better be sure before you go around saying things like that. I am sure. I lived it. He leaned closer. His voice was low. Think about what you're doing. Think about the consequences. For her. For this school. For you. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. He walked away. Ava stood frozen in the hallway. Her whole body was shaking. She pulled out her phone and texted Dr. Harper. He responded immediately. Come to my office. When she got there, he was waiting. She told him what happened. His jaw tightened. That's intimidation, he said. That's against policy. He was just talking to me. He was trying to scare you into staying quiet. Dr. Harper picked up his phone. I'm reporting this to Mrs. Chen. Will that make it worse? No, Dr. Harper said firmly. It will show them that you're not alone, that you have support, that they can't bully you into silence. Ava's breath caught. I'm scared. I know. But you're also brave. Keep being brave. The school board meeting was scheduled for Friday night. Dr. Harper had collected statements from Carly, Maya, David, Rachel, and 6 other students. He had documentation of grade discrepancies. He had the video from the beach. Ava sat with Marcus in the school parking lot. The meeting was in 30 minutes. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. You don't have to do this, Marcus said. We can withdraw the complaint. We can transfer you to another school. No, Ava said. I'm not running. Not anymore. I'm proud of you. His voice was thick. Your mother would be proud of you too. Ava's eyes filled with tears. Her mother had died when she was 8. She barely remembered her face anymore. But she remembered her strength, her courage, her refusal to accept injustice. I wish she was here, Ava whispered. She is here, in you, in everything you're doing. They got out of the truck and walked into the school. The meeting room was crowded. Parents filled the seats. Teachers lined the walls. Ms. Wilkins sat in the front row with her lawyer. Dr. Harper waved Ava over. Are you ready? I think so. You're going to have to tell your story, in front of everyone. It won't be easy. Ava looked at the crowd. So many faces. So many eyes that would judge her. So many voices that would question her. But she also saw Maya and Carly. She saw David and Rachel. She saw other students who had come to support her. She saw her father standing in the back. I'm ready, she said. The board president called the meeting to order. We're here tonight to discuss a formal complaint filed against Ms. Wilkins. Dr. Harper will present the case. Dr. Harper stood. He was calm and professional. He laid out the evidence methodically. He played the beach video. Several board members winced. Then it was time for witnesses. Maya went first. She described Ms. Wilkins' comments about Ava. Her voice shook, but she got through it. Carly went next. She admitted her own role in bullying Ava. She described how Ms. Wilkins had encouraged it. Some people in the audience gasped. Then Dr. Harper called Ava. "Please tell the board what you experienced." Ava walked to the front. Her legs felt weak. She looked at the board. Members. At Ms. Wilkins. At her father. "My name is Ava Bennett," she said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "And I'm here to tell you what it's like to be invisible." Ava stood at the front of the room. Every eye was on her. She took a deep breath. Her father's eyes found hers across the crowd. He nodded. "I came to this school excited to learn," Ava said. "I wanted to do well. I wanted to be part of something. But from the first day, Ms. Wilkins treated me different." She described the first incident. The homework marked wrong when it was correct. The cold stares. The comments about people like you. Ms. Wilkins's lawyer stood. "Objection. This is hearsay." "This is her testimony," the board president said. "Sit down." Ava continued. She talked about being called to the board, about being told she was wrong when she wasn't, about watching Ms. Wilkins treat other students with kindness while treating her with contempt. "She made me feel worthless," Ava said. Her voice cracked. "Every single day, and when I tried to speak up, she punished me for it." She described the field trip, the mockery of her father, being pushed into the water while Ms. Wilkins watched. "She didn't help me," Ava said. "She just stood there. She was satisfied." Several board members were taking notes. Others looked uncomfortable. Ms. Wilkins sat rigid in her seat. Her face was pale. "I have videos. I have witnesses. I have documentation." Ava's voice grew stronger. "But most importantly, I have my truth. And my truth is that Ms. Wilkins targeted me because of my race." The room erupted. Parents shouted, teachers argued. The board president banged his gavel. "Order! We will have order!" Ava walked back to her seat. Her legs were shaking. Dr. Harper squeezed her shoulder. "You did great." Ms. Wilkins' lawyer approached the board. "My client denies these allegations completely. This is a vendetta by a troubled student who can't handle criticism." "Troubled?" Marcus stood up. His voice cut through the room. "My daughter is the strongest person I know. She's speaking truth to power. That's not troubled. That's courage." The board president looked at Marcus. "Sir, please sit down." "Not until I say what needs to be said." Marcus walked forward. "My daughter has been discriminated against, bullied, humiliated, and your teacher participated in it. If you don't hold her accountable, you're complicit." Something shifted in the room. Parents who had been defending Ms. Wilkins looked uncertain. The board members exchanged glances. "We'll deliberate and make a decision," the board president said. "This meeting is adjourned." The board deliberated for 3 hours. Ava waited in the hallway with Marcus, Dr. Harper, Maya, and Carly. Time moved slowly. Each minute felt like an hour. "What if they don't believe me?" Ava whispered. "They believe you," Dr. Harper said. "I saw their faces." "But Ms. Wilkins has supporters. She has tenure." "She also has evidence." "Against her," Marcus said. "Truth has power." Finally, the doors opened. The board president called everyone back in. Ava's heart pounded. Her breath caught in her throat. Ms. Wilkins sat with her lawyer. Her expression was defiant. But Ava saw fear in her eyes. The board president stood. "We've reviewed all evidence and testimony. This is a serious matter. The allegations are grave." The silence stretched through the room. We find that Ms. Wilkins did engage in discriminatory behavior toward Ava Bennett and potentially other students. Her conduct violated our anti-discrimination policies. Ms. Wilkins's face went white. Her lawyer leaned over and whispered urgently. However, the board president continued, we must follow due process. Ms. Wilkins will be placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. If the investigation confirms these findings, appropriate action will be taken. That's not enough, someone called out. It was David. He stood up. She should be fired. Now! Other students stood. They started chanting. Justice for Ava! Justice for Ava! The board president banged his gavel. We understand your frustration, but we must follow proper procedures. This will be resolved fairly. Ms. Wilkins stood. Her voice was shaking. I've dedicated 20 years to this school. This is how you repay me? By believing the lies of a troubled teenager? The evidence speaks for itself, the board president said. Evidence can be manipulated. Students can lie. Ms. Wilkins looked directly at Ava. She's destroying my life. Ava felt Marcus tense beside her. She put her hand on his arm. She stood up. I'm not destroying your life, Ava said quietly. I'm telling my truth. You destroyed your own life by choosing hatred over humanity. The room went silent. Ms. Wilkins stared at her. For the first time, something shifted in her expression. It looked almost like shame. This meeting is adjourned, the board president said. People filed out slowly. Some stopped to hug Ava. Others glared at her. Ms. Wilkins left through a side door. Ava walked outside with her father. The night air was cool and clean. She took a deep breath. You were incredible, Marcus said. It's not over yet. No, but you've already won something important. What's that? Your voice, your dignity. No one can take those away from you now. 3 weeks later, the investigation concluded. Dr. Harper called Ava to his office. His face was serious, but his eyes were warm. They finished the investigation, he said. They interviewed over 30 students. They reviewed 3 years of Ms. Wilkins's grade books. They found a pattern. What kind of pattern? Students of color consistently received lower grades, more discipline referrals, harsher criticism. Dr. Harper leaned forward. You weren't imagining it. It was real. It was systematic. Ava felt something break inside her. Relief and anger mixed together. What happens now? The board is meeting tomorrow to decide her fate. They've asked you to speak. Again? One last time. Your final statement. He paused. This is your chance to say everything you need to say. Ava went home and sat at her desk. She pulled out paper and started writing. Words poured out of her. All the pain, all the humiliation, all the strength she had found. She wrote late into the night. Marcus knocked on her door around midnight. You should sleep, he said. I need to finish this. He sat on her bed. What are you writing? Everything I wish I had said from the beginning. She looked at him. Everything I wish I had the courage to say. You had courage all along, Marcus said. You just needed to find it. You taught me that. You taught me to stand tall, to fight for what's right. His throat tightened. Your mother taught you that too. She never backed down from injustice. Neither should you. The next day, the meeting room was packed again. More people than before. News cameras lined the back wall. This had become bigger than one school, bigger than one teacher. This was about justice. Ms. Wilkins sat in the front row. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. The board president called the meeting to order. We've completed our investigation. Before we announce our decision, Ava Bennett has requested to make a statement. Ava walked to the front. She held her speech in shaking hands. She looked at Miss Wilkins, then at the crowd, then at her father. She started reading. My name is Ava Bennett. I am 16 years old. I am black, and I deserve dignity. Her voice grew stronger with each word. She described the isolation, the daily cruelty, the systematic erasure of her worth. Ms. Wilkins didn't just discriminate against me. She taught my classmates that it was acceptable. She normalized hatred. She weaponized her authority. People in the audience were crying. Some teachers looked ashamed. Ms. Wilkins stared at the floor. But here's what Ms. Wilkins didn't understand. She couldn't break me, because my worth isn't defined by her hatred. It's defined by my strength, my courage, my refusal to be silent. Ava looked directly at Ms. Wilkins. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. She folded her speech. The room was completely silent. I hope you find it too. The board deliberated for only 40 minutes. When they returned, the board president's face was grave. We've reached a decision. Ms. Wilkins, please stand. Ms. Wilkins stood slowly. Her hands were shaking. Her lawyer stood beside her. Based on the investigation findings, we have determined that you violated our anti-discrimination policies repeatedly and systematically. Your behavior created a hostile environment for students of color. Ms. Wilkins closed her eyes. Effective immediately, we are terminating your employment. You will not receive tenure consideration. Your final paycheck will include unused vacation time only. The room erupted. Students cheered. Parents clapped. Ms. Wilkins's supporters sat in stunned silence. Ms. Wilkins opened her eyes. They were filled with tears. She looked at Ava one last time. Ava couldn't read her expression. Anger? Regret? Shame? Maybe all three. Ms. Wilkins' lawyer guided her toward the door. As they passed Ava, Ms. Wilkins stopped. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but no words came out. She walked away. Dr. Harper hugged Ava. You did it. You really did it. We did it, Ava said. All of us together. Marcus wrapped his arms around her. She felt his tears on her hair. I'm so proud of you. Maya and Carly rushed over. Other students crowded around. Everyone was talking at once. Everyone wanted to celebrate. But Ava felt something unexpected. Not joy, not triumph, just exhaustion. Can we go home? She asked Marcus. They drove in silence. When they pulled into the driveway, Marcus turned off the engine but didn't move. How do you feel? He asked. Empty, Ava said honestly. I thought I'd feel happy, but I just feel tired. That's normal. You've been fighting for months. Your body needs to rest. Your heart needs to heal. Did I do the right thing? Yes, without question. He took her hand. You exposed injustice. You protected other students who might have suffered. You showed everyone that silence isn't strength. Speaking up is. Ms. Wilkins lost everything. Ms. Wilkins chose her actions. Actions have consequences. Marcus squeezed her hand. You gave her chances to change. She refused. That's not on you. They went inside. Ava went straight to her room. She lay on her bed and stared at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed constantly. Messages of congratulations, support, pride. She turned it off. She needed quiet. She needed space to process everything. Tomorrow she would celebrate. Tomorrow she would accept the praise. Tomorrow she would move forward. But tonight, she just needed to rest. Monday morning, Ava walked into school. Students stared at her. Some smiled. Some whispered. Everyone knew who she was now. Maya met her at her locker. You're famous. I don't want to be famous. I just want to go to class. Too late for that. Maya grinned. You're a hero. Carly appeared beside them. She looked nervous. Can we talk? Alone? Ava and Carly walked to an empty classroom. They sat facing each other. The silence stretched between them. I've been thinking about what you said, Carly began. About forgiveness. What about it? You said you forgave Ms. Wilkins, but you didn't say anything about forgiving me. Carly's voice cracked. Do you? Can you? Ava thought carefully. She remembered the cruelty, the mockery, the push into the tide pool. She remembered crying alone in bathrooms, eating lunch in isolation, feeling worthless. But she also remembered Carly's apology, her testimony, her courage to stand up against her own friends. I'm working on it, Ava said, honestly. That's fair. Carly wiped her eyes. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want to earn your trust, however long that takes. Why does it matter so much to you? Because I see who you are now. I see your strength. I see your dignity. Carly's breath caught. I want to be like that. I want to be brave. Something shifted in Ava's chest. She thought about her mother, about her father, about all the people who had taught her that growth was possible, that people could change. Okay, Ava said. Okay, what? Okay, we can try. We can be friends, real friends. Ava paused. But you have to promise me something. Anything. Never let silence make you complicit again. If you see injustice, speak up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Carly nodded. Tears ran down her face. I promise. They hugged awkwardly at first, then tighter. When they pulled apart, both were crying. Thank you, Carly whispered. Don't thank me yet, Ava said with a small smile. I'm a tough friend to have. I hold people accountable. Good, I need that. They walked back into the hallway together. Students stared at them. The former bully and her victim, walking side by side. It would take time for people to understand. It would take time for trust to rebuild. But this was a start. Marcus picked Ava up after school. She told him about her conversation with Carly. Are you sure you want to forgive her? He asked. I'm not sure about anything, but holding on to anger just hurts me, not her. Ava looked out the window. You taught me that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. I'm learning a lot from you too, Marcus said quietly. Like what? That protecting you doesn't mean fighting your battles. It means standing beside you while you fight them yourself. 2 months passed. Spring arrived. The school felt different. A new teacher replaced Ms. Wilkins. Mr. Johnson was young and kind. He learned every student's name in the first week. He graded fairly. He listened. Ava's grades improved, not because her work was different, but because someone finally saw her effort. She sat with Maya, Carly, David, and Rachel at lunch every day. Other students joined them. The table grew crowded. It felt good to belong. One afternoon, Dr. Harper called her to his office. I have something for you. He handed her an envelope. She opened it carefully. Inside was a certificate and a letter. The district is giving you the Youth Courage Award, Dr. Harper said, for standing up against discrimination, for making this school better. Ava read the letter. Her throat tightened. I don't need an award. Maybe not. But other students need to see you honored. They need to know that speaking truth to power matters. Will there be a ceremony? Next month, in front of the whole school. Dr. Harper smiled. Are you ready for that? I don't know. You face down a school board. You can handle an assembly. The ceremony was planned for late April. Ava spent weeks preparing a short speech. She wrote and rewrote it. She wanted to say something meaningful, something that would inspire other students to find their voices. The night before, she couldn't sleep. She lay in bed thinking about the past year. How much had changed? How much she had changed? She thought about Ava from September, that quiet girl who walked with her head down, who felt invisible, who believed she was worthless. That girl was gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone who knew her worth, someone who refused to be silenced. Marcus knocked on her door. "Can't sleep?" "Too nervous." He sat on her bed. "What are you nervous about?" "Saying the wrong thing. Not living up to the award, being too visible." "You spent months being invisible. How did that feel?" "Lonely." "Then embrace being seen. Embrace your strength." He squeezed her hand. "You've earned this moment. Enjoy it." The next morning, the whole school gathered in the auditorium. Ava sat on stage with the principal and Dr. Harper. She watched students file in. So many faces, so many stories. Her father sat in the front row. He gave her a thumbs up. She smiled. The principal spoke about courage and integrity. Dr. Harper talked about Ava's bravery. Then it was her turn. She walked to the microphone. The auditorium went silent. "A year ago, I was invisible," she began. Ava stood at the microphone. Her heart pounded, but her voice was steady. "I walked through these halls feeling like I didn't exist, like my voice didn't matter, like my worth was determined by other people's hatred." She paused. "I was wrong about that last part. My worth was always there. I just couldn't see it yet." Students leaned forward. Every eye was on her. What happened with Ms. Wilkins wasn't just about one teacher. It was about a system that allows discrimination, that enables prejudice, that tells some students they belong and others they don't. She looked at Carly, at Maya, at David and Rachel. "But I learned something important. Change is possible. People can grow. Systems can be challenged." Her voice grew stronger. "It starts with one person refusing to be silent, then another, until the silence breaks completely." The auditorium erupted in applause. Students stood. Teachers clapped. Her father wiped tears from his eyes. Ava accepted the certificate. She shook hands with the principal. She hugged Dr. Harper. When she walked off stage, students mobbed her. Everyone wanted to congratulate her. Everyone wanted to tell their own stories. "Ms. Peterson treated me different too," one girl said. "I never said anything." "Say something now," Ava told her. "Your voice matters." "Mr. Thompson made racist jokes," a boy added. "I laughed because I was scared not to." "Don't be scared anymore. Be brave." After the assembly, Ava walked through the hallways. Students she didn't know said hello. Teachers she had never spoken to stopped to congratulate her. The principal asked her to join the student council. "We need voices like yours," she said, "to keep us accountable." At lunch, the table was packed. New students kept joining. The conversations were loud and joyful. "Remember when you sat alone?" Maya said. "Every day," Ava said quietly. "You're not alone anymore." Ava looked around the table, at faces that were once strangers, now friends, now allies, now family. She thought about Ms. Wilkins sometimes, about where she was, what she was doing, if she had learned anything. Ava hoped she had. She hoped Ms. Wilkins had found some peace, some understanding, some way to acknowledge the harm she had caused. But that was Ms. Wilkins' journey, not Ava's. Ava's journey was different. It was about rising, about healing, about using her voice to protect others. After school, Marcus was waiting. They drove home in comfortable silence. When they pulled into the driveway, he turned to her. "Your mother would be so proud," he said. "I wish I could tell her. She knows. Somehow she knows." They went inside. Ava went to her room and looked at herself in the mirror. She saw strength in her eyes, confidence in her posture, pride in her smile. She was no longer invisible. She was no longer silent. She was no longer afraid. She was Ava Bennett, and she was enough. Summer arrived with warm sunshine and blue skies. School ended with ceremonies and celebrations. Ava cleaned out her locker on the last day. So many memories packed into one small space. She walked through the empty hallways one final time. She stopped at Miss Wilkins' old classroom. A new nameplate hung on the door. Mr. Johnson. The room looked different already. Brighter, more welcoming, more alive. Carly found her standing there. Thinking about everything that happened? Yeah, it feels like another lifetime. You changed this school, Carly said. You changed me too. We changed each other. Ava smiled. That's what real friendship does. They walked outside together. Maya, David, and Rachel were waiting. They all hugged and exchanged phone numbers. They promised to stay in touch over the summer. You're coming back next year, right? Maya asked. Of course. This is my school, too. Marcus picked her up. They drove home slowly. Iva watched the town pass by her window. Everything looked the same, but everything felt different. That evening, they ate dinner on the back porch. The sun set in brilliant colors, orange and pink and gold. What did you learn this year? Marcus asked. Ava thought carefully. I learned that silence protects no one. That courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite fear. She paused. I learned that dignity can't be taken, only surrendered, and I learned that my voice matters. What else? That forgiveness is complicated, that change is hard, that justice takes time. She looked at her father. And that I'm never alone as long as I have people who believe in me. Marcus reached across the table. He took her hand. Always. They sat in comfortable silence as darkness fell. Stars appeared one by one. Ava felt peace settle over her. Real peace. Earned peace. She thought about the girl she had been a year ago, scared and small and silent. She wanted to tell that girl something important. You are stronger than you know. You are braver than you believe. You are worthy of dignity and respect. And one day you'll find your voice. Ava had found hers. She had used it to demand justice, to expose cruelty, to inspire change. She would never be silent again. Marcus squeezed her hand. Ready for bed? In a minute. She looked up at the stars. I just want to sit here a little longer. Take your time. Ava breathed in the night air. She felt gratitude and hope and strength. She had survived. She had fought. She had won. Not a victory of revenge. A victory of dignity, of moral clarity, of knowing she had done what was right even when it was hard. She stood up finally. Marcus followed her inside. At the door, she turned back for one last look at the stars. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new growth. But tonight, she had peace.